morning, everyone. We're here for the Sunday mindset session. I'm Luke Maroney. We've got Tony Meredith, that side or that side. And we are pumped up because this is session 101 of the Sunday mindset session. Yes, we've cracked the 100 and we're roaring and ready to go, which is significant for us in terms of where we're at mindset-wise. We've got to make sure that we are thinking mindset each and every day. And this is a good refresher for everyone on a Sunday to get their week started in a great way. Mum, good to have you on, and many others that are joining. Tony, good morning to you.
Luke, hello, mate. How are you? My gosh, you can tell that the temperature's starting to drop as we're heading into winter. Oh, gosh, it's a little bit fresh this morning. Very hard to get out of bed.
Yeah, well, the run was extremely cool, fresh and crisp out there this morning. So it's a good way to pump up your day and get yourself started. And you're out and about this morning as well, Tony.
I am, yeah, in my local park, just out here, the local dog park, here with the birds and the trees. Lovely, lovely. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Queensland, which it normally is.
Well, I was up on the Gold Coast over the last couple of days, and this is where I come up with the topic today, because I had a whole bunch of real estate agents who have been experiencing, ups and downs in their career, right? Which we do in each and every one of our jobs. There's a lot of money involved in real estate. Like, a lot of people want to get involved in real estate, but it's often the best of the best. The people that are willing to put in the hard work, put in the grind, and work smarter and harder, that get the results. So some people go into it, just focus on the money, and get burnt out in a short amount of time. And then others, try and true, get the work done, get the job done. Got to still remember that at some times there can be a burnout factor as well. So we've got to have that balance around what is right for us and then what is good for the success for yourself in future as well.
Well, look, it happens in every industry. It doesn't have to be in real estate. It's every single industry. The cream always rises to the top, and typically the cream are those that understand why they're doing it, are clear on what they want to do, and take consistent and persistent action. It doesn't change whether you're in real estate or whether you're in business coaching or buyer's agency or whatever it is. That's what happens. The cream rises to the top, and people get into things, majority, for the wrong reasons. Like you just touched on, they get in there for the money, for the glitz, the glamour, the lights. They might see a show in the States with some of those agents who are making squillion dollars on a sale, and I think, oh my gosh, it's easy. I could sit there and have a chat for a few minutes and close a sale. And what they don't see is all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And the same happens with our sporting stars. We don't see what really goes on behind the scenes. We don't see the blood, sweat, and the tears, the effort that goes on, the early starts, the late finishes, etc. And it happens in every single industry. Were you training some people in real estate, were you? Is that what it was all about?
No, I was actually a participant, listening to all real estate people and their stories and what they've gone through, what's changing in the industry, some ideas around social media and what people do. So it was probably a tight-knit network of real estate agents around the country. They got together to share their experiences. So it was a really good event. It's smaller. In a couple of weeks, they've actually got the Australian real estate event on the Gold Coast. And that's, there'll be probably a couple thousand people there at that event. This is in quite an intimate setting. It was a very raw and real experience about what real estate agents are going through from, times when they did it tough under someone else and, took them a little while to get out of their job and then start something new. And then the freedom and then the work that they're putting in now is just significantly different than what they started out with, and the hard work that they had to put in while working under someone, and wanted to expand and create new ideas and things like that, but were held back by their bosses. So having that experience then puts people in a situation of wanting to do even more, I guess. Some of those pain points that we do experience, Tony, may set us up to being so much better in future when we do have something that is more towards our purpose, our being, and less towards someone else's, putting us in a glass jar, for example, with that lid on the top where that fly bounces to the top. So
sure.
Tony Gallagher and Peter said good morning, and Nigel's come on as well, and a few others that have joined us. You want to say further from that?
I was just going to say again, it happens to every job. You know, I used to be an employee, used to be an employee, no longer am, nor are you, for our various reasons. And the same happens in all industries where, you know, people you need to listen to this thing. You need to listen to this. And if you're not happy where you are, if you're not feeling fulfilled where you are, then it's an opportunity to get out. And I'm not suggesting for a moment that it's for everybody, because it is hard. Because here's the thing, the success is as a result of you, but the failures are as a result of you as well. It's ultimate ownership. Being a small business or a business owner doesn't have to be a small business, but you need to be up to that sort of stuff. And you touched before on some of the pains that help build, you know, resilience is the word. You know, not everyone's going to be able to get through those pains. Some people are going to hit those lot of obstacles and they're going to throw their hands in the air and it's going to become all too hard. They're going to go back to the security of employment. And other people will see the pain as an opportunity to get through it, come out the other side. An obstacle is a challenge and an opportunity for learning, for growth. It's a growth mindset. And, you know, so again, not everybody is going to be successful in real estate, just like not everybody is going to be successful in whatever industry or sport or whatever they choose to do.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You wonder, there's the other factor of people staying in their jobs for 10, 20, 30 years and really hating it as well. I'm sure there's a lot of that out there because they feel so trapped because they've got to pay the bills and they want to go there one holiday a year or whatever it might be. They might be in a situation where they're completely trapped, completely controlled in that environment, and they don't see a way out. Now, I'd love to hear from the audience about some of the challenges or the tough challenges that they've gone through, whether that's in the past or currently right now, because I know that, you know, some of the agents that did get up over the on Friday to speak about their stories, one particular agent's probably stayed in his job for about 2 years while he was, you know, getting, you know, put down or controlled by the boss. He went into an award ceremony. He was the only staff member at that awards session, actually sent them a sarcastic comment afterwards and got pulled up by the boss at the time to say, it's not a place to send sarcastic comments. Not the fact that no one showed up at the awards ceremony to celebrate his achievements, but more so the fact of putting him down because of that sarcastic comment that he sent around the office. It actually took him to a position where he was actually a real estate agent and then the auctioneer on a particular property. He got paid his real estate agent commission on the deal, but he didn't get paid the $600, $700 in auction fees on that deal. That was the broke the camel's back at that time. That was that point in time for him to say, okay, I quit. It took about $700. Not all the things that were happening before, but that moment in time. And maybe it's, you know, preparing ourselves to leave a job or to get to a new job, and maybe there's not the opportunity at the same time. So maybe you have to go through that hard struggle for a couple of years, Tony, before you get to a position of leaving it, having this brand new life. And he hasn't looked back, and he's generated so much sales and, you know, taken away market share from his competitor or his previous employer in the area.
Well, it's pain. It's the avoidance of pain, right? And early on, maybe there wasn't enough pain to prompt action. How do we get motivated? We seek pleasure and we avoid pain. And that's what we do as humans. And maybe in that example, and I don't know who you're referring to, but maybe for them, there wasn't enough pain early on and hence they put up with it. And again, you would see this across every business in Australia, in the world right now, where people are putting up with things. It's painful, but it's not quite painful enough for them to prompt them to do to take some action and to move. And ultimately, it's important to remember that we all have choice, right? So we all have the choice. No one has got a gun to someone's head saying, you must go to that job. Now, I understand that people have financial commitments and all these other things, and this doesn't happen instantaneously, but if you set yourself a goal, to leave, I set myself a goal to leave 3 years before I left, and I slowly but surely worked on it. Would have been nice to be able to leave instantaneously, but that wasn't reality. And so it's about coming up with a plan, got my goals, and I work towards that each and every day. But the saying that comes to mind, going back to that agent around the pain, is that change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the change itself. And that is that anytime you go and change, it's going to be hard, you're going to be doing new things, you're going to be clunky, clumsy, etc. But when the pain of staying the same becomes all too much, bam, that's the point in time when you'll do something about it. Now, you can allow that to happen naturally, or you can artificially bring that forward. And I did that recently in my session in Sydney, where we artificially brought it forward through the power of projection and amplifying the pain to elicit people to start to take action.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. Sometimes, these things chip away at you over time, and there's not like a big reason for people then to either be fired or quit. And sometimes you kind of force this, I've had this experience myself as well, where I thought I was going to leave a job in 6 months' time. It happened in a month because I already had myself out of that situation or out of that job before I basically flicked off the switch and I was out already. So that was a big one for me. But I guess sometimes that you don't know where the next move is. And I guess for most people, they're in a job and they're earning an income. If they don't have that income, then they don't pay the bills and pay the rent for where they live. So that can be also a big one to think about where the move is, or give yourself enough space, Tony, to actually get to a position to allow yourself what the next move is. That's a challenge within itself to almost make that sacrifice that you don't have that steady income coming in and you're in a position to actually go give it all up and then create something or create space to actually get into something further.
Yeah, but it comes down to fulfillment. It comes down to listen to this. So did I leave my job and walk straight into the same salary? No, I didn't. Not even remotely close, but I was happy. And there's a significant difference. And a lot of people will put the financial side of things ahead of the happiness. Whereas for me, I was incredibly unhappy. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. People around me didn't really understand. And so it was a case of I knew that I needed to make a change and that I needed to stick with my path long enough and things would bear fruit. And that's the same. But people have to make that change to maybe sell down the lifestyle, sell down the big home they live in, sell down assets. I'm not suggesting for a moment that's easy, but that's precisely what I did. We sold our last investment property back in May of 2015. That was it.
I guess people want to set it up, Tony, for the perfect, right? When's that perfect time to leave your job? When's the perfect time to get into the new job? And I see a bit of a grin on your face. Before you answer that, we've got a couple of comments coming through. Tony Gallagher said, and perhaps his belief in himself to decide to leave. So we talked about that story earlier about the real estate agent who took about 2 years before he left his job and moved into something else. And geez, what a difference in the tone, the story that he experienced as well. Nigel says, I absolutely loved my job, electrical trade. I still miss it, although I love my wife and my daughters more. Best decision I ever did to stay at home dad. So that's incredible for him to be able to. David says, not many people have choices or know if they have choices.
David, I disagree. So everyone has a choice. Every single person has a choice. So yes, I agree that not many may think about the fact that they have a choice or recognise they have a choice, but I would absolutely disagree with the first part of your statement, and that is that every single one of us has a choice. It's just that not everybody wants to do the things to bring that to reality. It won't happen instantaneously. My runway was 3 years. That was how long my runway was out of my job. And so these things don't happen instantaneously, but I had a choice. And the choice that I made was I could no longer go on the way that I was going on inside. Maybe to people outside, they didn't really have a clue. I didn't express my true feelings in my office, although certain people knew that I wanted to leave. But generally speaking, I just got on with the job. But inside, I knew that I was not fulfilled, that my heart was empty. And so I needed to find that thing.
Tony, I was hearing earlier, I was going to pick you up on this earlier, but you said consistent and persistent action. Is that a new acronym you're coming up with? Or
No. Sorry, consistent and persistent effort. My apologies. So that's CAPE, CAPE, consistent and persistent effort. So that's CAPA. That's CAPA, consistent and persistent action. There you go. But here's the thing. So, and we touched on it last week that. Consistency. Well, it's good recall, mate. So consistency beats intensity, and people do things in a burst, but they're not consistent. And we use your story around your running as a great example.
What are you consistent at, Tony? I know that's my run. Consistent at. What are you consistent at?
Working, eating ice cream. That's what I'm consistent at. So certainly not health and wellness. I need to be more consistent in that regard. Yes, working. I tend to work most days, much to the detriment of some of those around. So that's an opportunity for me, absolutely. But I'm a worker. I love working. I love what I do. And
so David's coming back with his some of his interesting ideas. I know we said earlier that he got 50% right in that. We believe, Tony and I believe, that he got that 50% right in terms of not many people have choices or know if they have choices. I think, there's we agree with the second half of it is not many people know that they have choices.
I agree.
They don't allow themselves to have choices.
Yeah.
And he said, for example, people who have disabilities don't have many choices. Well, if you see some of the people that have disabilities, look at their incredible lives that they are living.
100%.
There's so many examples, and oh my God, like the tenacity that they have and the resilience that they've created for themselves. Yes, they can't do some things, but we've seen people just do incredible things, and have disabilities.
Oh, of course. So you David, in part, there are things that they do have a physical or a mental limitation on. Yes, that is an obvious piece. They have choice. They have an enormous amount of choice. There are people who are disabled, who maybe are, let's say it's paraplegic, or have issues with walking. They're choosing to do nothing. Sit at home, maybe mope, maybe get upset about their circumstances. There are others who are out there, Kurt Fernley and a whole lot of other Olympians, who say, you know what, this is me, this is who I am, this is all I know, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to make every post a winner. So it's no different to able-bodied people. We have people who take the bit between the teeth and they go for it, they make a difference and they want to make an impact on the world, and there are people who choose to sit and wallow in their own self-pity. Able-bodied, disabled body, it doesn't matter. We have the same in both.